Kira.
I'm Casey.
I'm Ellen.
And I'm Trevor.
And we researched the D.B. Cooper mystery. You all should have gotten a link to our Prezi, and you can go ahead and open that up so you can have time to explore it.
Okay, so a little background on the hijacking. It's about a man who hijacked a Boeing 727 aircraft on November 24th, 1971, going from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington. He purchased a one-way ticket with the alias Dan Cooper. D.B. Cooper was actually from the media. It was just kind of like a miscommunication. Once he boarded the plane, he made a bomb threat to the flight attendant, and he requested a few parachutes, $200,000 ransom, and a field truck standing by once they landed. Once they landed in Seattle, he had the passengers exit the plane, and all his demands were met, and they took back off on a route that he gave the pilots. Midway through the flight, they felt that the back air stair had opened, and that's when they believe he jumped. And the FBI speculates that he died before he even reached the ground due to the conditions, and that his body was never found, and the majority of the cash was never found. Only little scraps have been found.
Great, so I'm going to talk about the significance of the D.B. Cooper case in general, and also the importance of the artifact that we made. So the D.B. Cooper mystery is the only unsolved air piracy in American history. So there's a lot of unknown facts surrounding it. And because there's so much uncanny and unknown surrounding the case, it continues to be brought up in society today. And the fact that it has such an impact on our society is what our group was most interested in studying. So that's what we decided to make our artifact on. And as we looked at the case, we decided it could be split up into 3 categories. So that's pop culture, the aviation industry, and current society. And once we split it up into those 3 categories, we realized that those 3 categories could be split up even farther. So for pop culture, it could be split up into songs, movies, TV shows, books, and comics. And as we realized that our presentation could be split up into so many different categories, we realized we needed to make an artifact that had branches. So we decided to make a web. And as we were deciding what type of artifact to make, we considered making a poster like this. And so we made a poster, but we realized that we couldn't embed any actual examples of how our case was impacting society. And we wanted to include videos and text and quotes and audio. And so we needed something digital. So we thought about making a PowerPoint or a website, but realized we couldn't make a web format. So we ended up making a Prezi, and that is over there. And it's a web, and we thought it would be great because it organizes a lot of information in a very clear manner. And also because it has so many real-world examples of how the case is being impactful, we thought it would keep the audience engaged. And so our Prezi is meant to convey the significance of the case using examples, and it's not meant to be a standalone artifact. It's just meant to help people learn about the case, but only about the significance of the case. And we believe that it could be found possibly as a link on a Wikipedia page, such as the main article on D.B. Cooper, or possibly the article on D.B. Cooper's impact on pop culture. We also believe it could be found on a blog or a website, or possibly even a news article that's talking about the significance of D.B. Cooper and wanted to use something to emphasize that. And we believe that our artifact needs to exist because there's no other comprehensive resource that maps the impact of D.B. Cooper on society. And we believe that it makes the information easy to understand. So that's another reason that we believe that it's important that it exists, and it adds a whole new layer to the D.B. Cooper mystery. It doesn't just talk about the facts of the case, but it goes farther in depth and talks about its significance.
Okay, so we're going to give you a few minutes now to just explore the Prezi on your own with the link that you were given. Just go through, really just look at it and sort of the information.
And if you have any questions about it, don't hesitate to ask us.
So we start with the DB Cooper mystery. That is the center of our web. That's like the beginning of it. And we have a short summary, just background, not too much. Okay, from there, our web goes to the aviation industry and the effects that DB Cooper has had on this industry. So like the inclusion of sky marshals and implementation of them in airplanes. It also goes through and explains like different information about it and their impact. From there, it goes to airport security and how airport security has changed because of DB Cooper and how they've added metal detectors and things like that and then regulated your carry-ons. From there, it goes to today's airport and how that's different due to DB Cooper, all going on with the significance of his hijacking. Okay, then it goes to hijackings, and there we are detailed copycat hijackings that were similar to DB Cooper's. Current society, we included his effect on current society, such as the establishments, DB Cooper days, and even a music festival about him and a free fall competition, all in his honor. From current society, we go to conspiracy theories because those are very prevalent in today's current society. They're a big part, there's so many conspiracy theories about what happened to him. So we just detailed a few of them there, given there, just a few ideas, not all of them. Showing his impact, how people are still talking about today. Pop culture is our next. And this is a really big part of it, how big his influence has been on pop culture, how he's present in so much songs and TV shows, movies. We included a few clips. TV shows, which you'll see a lot of TV shows that you've seen, and you might not have even realized that he had such a big part in that certain episode. It's also present in movies. He has a movie, The Without a Paddle, which we talked about in our pitch presentation, as well as The Pursuit of DB Cooper, which is about a conspiracy theory. Comics and books as well. And I think the web really shows how much his effect has branched out on society and how widespread it is.
Okay, now that you guys have kind of seen what our artifact looks like and understand the basic concepts of it, and understand the fact that it's supposed to be something that's kind of goes with another main article of information or another big source of information, I'm going to talk about how we made the artifact and kind of challenges that came with it. So starting with how to make it, I went all the way back to the annotated bibliography actually, and it was a big collection of 16 sources that we didn't necessarily know why would fit together. It was basically a manhunt of finding some sources and see how much you can learn and dig up about the mystery. And by doing that, we actually found out that there was actually 3 main areas that kept showing up and repeating themselves as we kept looking, and those are the 3 biggest circles here, which we've talked about several times. And basically from that, we decided to, from the annotated bibliography, put those sources in those groups, and then also add the pictures, the videos, the other multimodal aspects of it to that, and in addition to other information and other sources that would even further extend the reach of each of those areas. And basically, the goal was to make it look like a web, which is what the Prezi was for, and show that it has a big, wide, expanding reach, overarching the entire society in multiple areas, and it's, even if it breaks off into 3 main areas, there's so much that it breaks off into that it's hard to really pin it down to one area. And several of the challenges, I found 2 main ones that I'd like to talk about. The first one being making it flow as best as possible and making it where it made sense, even with it being wide out and sporadic. So we did what we did because we like to have a summary of it, even if it is in addition to an extra source, and then go from there and make sure that each section is talked about itself before you move on to the next. And we had to make sure that it wasn't too much information, but enough to where you got the point of its widespread influence on everything. And our second challenge was having enough multimodal examples. Like I said, we started with the annotated bibliography, so we did have a lot of examples of books or whatever it was, but we needed to make sure that we had different ways of adding videos or pictures or quotes or anything, and that's what was kind of brought up in our peer review, and we made sure that we were able to include that, and that's why we thought a Prezi was the best for us. That's it.